Welcome back to another episode of Two Guys
A podcast
and Movie Review. And what are we reviewing tonight, Javi?
The Lazarus Effect.
Lazarus? What?
Don't act stupid. You were the one that told me about this movie. I should be the one saying Lazarus. What? I heard about this movie once over the past couple months. I heard Khaled mention it on the movie review, the movie pre-review about all the movies coming out. And I saw a poster for the very first time right outside the theater. And I didn't know what we were going to get into. But tonight we saw The Lazarus Effect.
And you know what? I was expecting one thing and got hit with something completely different. And I'm not disappointed so far.
So what you're saying is you were expecting to get hit in the face with a coconut cream pie, but you got hit in the face with a warm apple pie.
No, it was more like I was expecting to be hit in the face with a left punch, but got hit with a right punch. Make sense?
No, that's a negative. Wait, are you saying the movie was bad? Is that what you're saying, left punch,
Now,
right punch?
I did say we're going to find out if it was scary good or scary bad.
Well, you said you weren't disappointed, so it must have been good. That's why I said pie.
Well, okay, I'll put you like this. The movie had its pros and cons. Paranormal Activity. I'll use that as a reference here. Slow build, good end.
Yeah, I would say great end.
Yeah, it was really good end. It left you wanting a little bit more.
Yeah, because especially seeing what happened at the end, you're like, didn't see that coming.
Yeah.
You thought it was going to go the same way that most of these movies go, and it went there, and then they brought you right back, and you're like, whoa, what's happening? What's happening?
Yeah. And it was, I'll put you like this. When the movie started off, I was giving it the whole, God, another one of these predictable horror movies that are going to go down this path that, we're going to build up really slow, give you a couple small scares in between, then boom, hit you with one big scare, and the movie's over.
Yeah, see, those movies, I have a really hard time reviewing because it's just so overly done already. It's so cliched.
Yeah, they overdo that movie, those movie types a lot. I'm not sure why. I guess it worked well with a couple movies, so they figure, hey.
It's kind of like, remember Cloverfield?
Yeah.
After Cloverfield, they started making all kinds of movies with, and now a lot of the horror movies coming out, like Paranormal Activity,
yeah,
is what do you call those kind of movies with the camera? It's like first person view. Or,
it's almost like like a
documentary.
It's like a shockumentary. Yeah. I guess, like I said, when it's done properly, they're good. But for the most part, I'd much rather see a movie that's not trying to be the whole based on true events type of movie done. That way they could take you into a realm of outside the ordinary. And,
right, because I once heard from somebody who played in a movie that was based on true events.
Yeah,
those movies only has to have like one small fact to it. Everything else after, like, that way they can legitimately say it was based on true events. So, like, let's say if somebody was murdered in a hotel, they can base that movie and say, base it off of that.
Yeah.
But then pull a whole bunch of crazy stuff like ghosts and demons and people killing each other. Well, it was based on a true story because this guy did die in the hotel, but all that other stuff, that was made up.
Yeah.
Right. And so let's kind of break it down, like, from beginning to end. You said it started, and you were kind of giving it already the...
It had that predictable build, that beginning. The beginning. I would say the first, 30 to 40 minutes or so of it had that predictability factor going for it.
I would say for the first 10, 15 minutes, because when they said what they were going to do, I thought... And then, they said what they were going to do, and then you saw what they were doing. I'm like, oh, okay. It wasn't as bad as you thought. It was actually, they put a little spin on it, like it was a good thing. So I was like, okay, it's going to come a little differently, so let me see what's going to happen.
Yeah, I guess that is true. One of the complaints I heard we had from one of our friends was he thought there were going to be more killings. I thought for the cast that they had, the amount of people, and the story that they were trying to convey, I think it was the right number of people.
I think so too. I don't agree with, and I don't think this is a spoiler, because we all know in a horror movie almost everybody dies except for one or two people. I just didn't agree with the person that they chose to be the last survivor.
Yeah, I'm kind of there with you, but at the same time, it's a little bit. I guess it's somewhat understandable why they went with that person based on the stories that they told, the character builds that they did for the others.
In a way, it was like an underdog you can cheer for. Now, not to say that this movie reeked of like underdogs and champions. It was just you saw the person there, and you're like, okay, like you said, you could see why they picked that person.
And I'm being interrupted with a phone call here. I'm going to tell RB in a second. Hold on. Reject for right now.
Well, your phone went off, so that means you have to do a dare.
No.
Yeah,
no.
The dare is you have to finish this podcast in a British accent.
I don't do British accents.
All right, well, if you refuse the dare, then you got to buy me lunch one day, so.
I'll buy you lunch one day then. We'll definitely do that.
Olive Garden.
Oh, God. Worst place.
But, no, yeah, you're right about, like you said, like the slow build, but it got interesting quick. As soon as they told you what they were trying to do in the movie, or like when you saw, oh, okay, this is what's going to happen, I'm like, it got you into it. I'm like, okay, well, how are they going to do it? What's going to happen? How many times is it going to happen? To how many people is it going to happen? And you knew deaths were coming. You know, like, you just knew. It just kind of made you wonder, how is it going to come?
Yeah, and the deaths weren't they weren't over the top. They were well done. It wasn't one of those things where, oh my God, they overkill this person, or oh, that was a cheap death.
Yeah.
You know, it was just it was well done, I guess.
Yeah, I would say one of them was very unique. I'm not gonna say what happened. The other one, it was very. How would I say? I don't want to say a normal way. It wasn't too fancy, but the way they made it look, it was like, whoa, yeah, that'd be a horrible way to go.
Yeah, I think I know exactly which one you're talking about.
And the last one had like an awesome, like, surprise element to it, because even though it was happening, nobody knew it was really happening. You know.
Yeah, the last one was pretty good. I enjoyed the last death. Like I said, it wasn't over the top. It wasn't ridiculous. It was subtle and done right.
Right, and this is gonna sound dumb, but I think the movie was like a little bit more realistic by the bad guy. You know what I'm saying? They weren't as supernatural as you would think. You know, as the previews might make it sound.
Hopefully, that's not a giveaway.
How could it be?
I don't know. I'll put you like this. I'll say, go in with an open mind. If you've seen the trailer, don't let the trailer make you have an idea of what's going to happen, because it doesn't play out that way.
But it is a pleasant surprise what does happen.
Yeah, it is a very pleasant surprise with what happens.
And they did have some scary moments in there that. I don't know why. I have this thing where I have to put like the collar of my shirt around
your nose.
Around my up to my nose, because I don't know. I feel like a hand is gonna come out and grab my throat at those scary moments. And I did that about 7 or 8 times, because the scary moments in this movie, you know, like, they were a little bit different than other movies. But man, like, when I say it was realistic, a little bit more realistic than others, it made me feel that something like that could happen.
Yeah.
And if I turned around and saw some of the stuff I saw in that movie, I would freak the F out.
So, what are you saying? Scary good or scary bad?
I'd say scary good, because it was a little bit more, it was unique, and I haven't seen a movie like this in a while.
I'll agree with you. I'll say scary good. Only downside for me, like I said, if you're not a fan of those slow, we have to explain kind of everything that goes on in the first 30 minutes, it's probably not for you.
Right.
But once it gets past that point,
yeah. And like I said, even the slow build wasn't unentertaining. It was filled with some comedy. You know, it was filled with
it gave you some information that you would need for later on in the movie, little subtle clues here and there.
Right, you know, to fully understand it. And the cast that they had was pretty good. Olivia Wilde was, I mean, I say that a lot, where I say I don't think they could have picked anybody else perfect, but I think I say that only because of how well that she played the role.
Well, she was in House, wasn't she?
Yeah, she was in House. No, but I mean, like throughout the entire movie. Having to go through some of the things that she went through.
Yeah.
I think Olivia Wilde was perfect for that role, and it just really meshed well for me. I'm not saying it was a 5 out of 5. It's just it was enough for me not to look at it as like these other scary movies and say, ugh, just another one of these movies. Because the biggest thing I'll say about this is, like I said, it wasn't as supernatural as you would think it would be. And that, I think, is a perfect example of, like, less is more. They didn't go over the top wild with, like, the bad guy in the movie, Like I said, less is more. And they really made it work, I feel.
Yeah, like I said, scary good for me. I think it's a good watch. It was ran just under 2 hours, so it's not going to take up your whole night. But you know what? I'll definitely recommend it to someone to go watch if they're into those horror movies. Not overly gory, so it's not for those gore fest fans.
But it did have a lot of those foreshadowing moments. Like when you knew something was going to happen, you knew something was going to come, and
but
a lot of times it didn't disappoint. It came.
Yeah, it came. It just kept you a little on the edge of your seat a little bit, which was good. I say you should go watch it, guys.
I'd give it a 4.25 out of 5.
I'll give it a 3.5 just because, like I said, sometimes those slow builds wear on you, even though it was a well-done slow build.
Yeah. Sure.
And that's movie review for Lazarus Effect. See ya!
Later.